Gyanindranath Bajpai, a distinguished leader in Indian business, was the chairman of the Securities and Exchange Board of India. Earlier, Mr. Bajpai was the chairman of the Life Insurance Corporation of India. He is known for his visionary leadership and exemplary integrity. He serves as non-executive chairman and a director on the corporate boards in India and other countries. He received awards for contribution to business and has authored several books as well. Mr. Bajpai has been the chairman of the Corporate Governance Task Force of International Organization of Securities Commissions and the chairperson of the National Pension Trust Board and National Stock Exchange of India. Mr. Bajpai was also non-executive chairman of National Stock Exchange Stockholding Corporation of India, LIC Housing Finance, LIC International EC Bahrain, LIC Nepal Limited, and Insurance Institute of India. Currently, he is the non-executive chairman and non-executive director of several corporates in India. Mr. Bajpai is on the board of advisors of Indian Army Group Insurance Fund and member of governing board of National Insurance Academy. Earlier, he has served on the governing board of Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. He's been a visiting faculty at leading institutes of management and training. He was a visiting professor of Middlesex University, London. He received a number of awards, notable among them being the CNBC TV 18 Outstanding Contribution to the Development of Finance Award from Prime Minister of India and W.C. Chirmulle Puraskar 2014 for commendable contribution in the fields of insurance and regulation of stock market. Mr. Bajpai holds a master's degree in commerce from the University of Agra and a Delhi law and a degree in law, LLB, from the University of Indore. Mr. Bajpai is an avid golfer too. So let me invite Mr. G.N. Bajpai, former chairman of SEBI and LIC, to deliver the keynote address.
Well, thank you very much for a very, very generous introduction. But I would like to let you know, dear friends, that's my past. Presently, I'm also a learner like any one of you in this place where the world is changing very fast. Thanks, Dr. Chaturvedi, for inviting me, and also Professor Abhijit, and also giving me an opportunity to speak. Since I'm not as much glued to the ground realities of the insurance industry anymore, like other learned speakers and the panelists, you are in for a bit of an ordeal. You're likely to hear some stories of an old fogey, which may not delight you. But I know of your generosities, so I will not test your patience. Friends, since Saurabh Misra has broadly outlined the thematic possibilities of the challenges, as also in some measure about the opportunities, let me talk at the micro level about the industry and also what I see. And if Dr. Chaturvedi and also Abhijit permit me, I would like to dwell a little more on how the challenges are unfolding the new opportunities and closing the doors for everyone. With that thought, let me begin with how I see the situation. The fusion of dynamics of socio-political, economic, environment, technology, et al. Factors is influencing the environment in a metamorphotic way. The risk landscape is undergoing a comprehensive transformation. The rapidity and the profundity of the changes that are taking place are confounding. And insurance industry is the manager of the risk of the individuals as also the societies. And the insurance companies do the business of intermediation, of democratization of the risk. The organization designs, the business and revenue models are becoming obsolete faster than ever before. And product basket is becoming irrelevant within a period of few months. Let me give you an example. The FMCG industry, organization design, which was built on cash, customers, supply chain, and the human resources. The smartest of the organizations, which were able to transform their organization design to reverse the order, human resources, supply chain, customers, and the cash, have survived and have come out of this pandemic only with minor bruises. But the others are now looking for getting into the grave. Well, friends, let me turn to the specific, a peep into the mind of the customer to understand his needs emerging from his aspirational life and living, and tailor out a solution is virtually becoming a figment of imagination of the product designers and marketers. Let us take the example of health in insurance industry and the healthcare. Most of insurance companies, to my mind, as I said, I'm not new to the ground realities. Therefore, my observation may be a bit of wide of the mark, are still trying to tweak the existing product basket with adding a few more illnesses or a few more features. But dear friends, the COVID has dramatically transformed the lifestyle of the individuals. Let me give an example. From a debonair dressing to, at the best, like me, a shirt, like some of you with a coat on, and underneath the shorts are the Louise, to getting spirited, even while in a Zoom call and looking absolutely alert and careful, to people trying to do multiple things while still engaging in virtual calls. Now, if I were a product designer, I would think slightly differently. Because if I have understood at least a little of the mind, people are not interested in a product from the self of the insurance company. They want the insurance company, which is democratizer of the risk and help me to manage my risk, to understand what risk will emanate from my lifestyle, and then offer me a tailored solution. This is possible, not only because of the health apps that people are wearing. I'm sure you are aware that FDA, United States, in 2013 allowed a capsule to be introduced in the human body, which could monitor, and that will leave a chip while getting out the rest of it, would monitor the entire health condition of a person. Now, what therefore people are asking or looking forward, maybe eventually in future, is going to be the de-risking my lifestyle, which will include health, which will include healthcare, which will include my mental health, and which will also include my emotional health. Now, if the insurance industry is still trying to tweak, maybe they'll survive for a while, but the smartest of them have already started moving ahead. Let me turn to the other one. The entire discussion, which I have been hearing once in a while from the ground about the employee benefit, is restricted to the problems of the organized sector employees. And that also very well organized sector employees, which also is restricted to health, pension, group insurance, and maybe at the best, discover of death. Dear friends, if we take a little deeper breath into the miseries of even India, forget about the rest of it, you would find something. That the employees in the informal sector, the employees in SMEs and medium sector are not concerned with your pension and group because there's nothing. What they needed at this point in time, what they will need going forward in future is what, if you have heard of it, there's an organization which was created in 1950s when Pandit Nehru was the Prime Minister of the country to cover the employee benefit of an industrial worker. That is insurance against death, disability, both temporary and permanent, as also health and including maternity health, including adoption. And full wages is given even today for 26 weeks for a mother, if she is a worker herself, and for even adopting mother. Now, dear friends, should, in the case of India, the Consolidated Fund of India be called upon every time there is a calamity like COVID-19, or in a liberalized economic environment where industry whose business is to undertake democratization of the risk spreading across on charging a premium. If you want to understand what is the kind of potential, somebody may come forward and tell me, hey, the opportunity is restricted because there is an SIC Act and we cannot trade in that. My dear friend, below that and above that, aside that, have you thought of what we call a leisure industry? The employees in the restaurants, the employees in the cargo handlers, the employees in the various other tourist spots. What kind of insurance have we provided as an industry to cover that? Because we don't look at it. Even today, most of the discussions are taking place on employee benefit is how to manage the challenge of growing longevity and contracting yield on the AUM. My dear friends, if insurance industry wants to look for future, the future lies in providing a comprehensive employee benefit to one and all who is employed either in a 2-person shop or a 2 million enterprise like TCS. Let me not bother you more about it. And those of you who are interested, I have done some kind of a rough secondary study on that. The opportunity space for the employee benefit is so comprehensive that even today's entire portfolio of PNGs of the country would look like a very small fragment of that. Let me turn to the environment now. Now, first and foremost, well, there is a comprehensive damage to the environment of planet Earth. Sometime in beginning of 80s, I had written an article that every year, only from the Amazon Delta, roughly about 1 million species of plants and living genes are being destroyed. Today, the damage has been so comprehensive that the political theory of the firm has come to play. Let me elaborate a little, since there are mostly academics here. The political theory of the firm is that firm which has the control over the behavior of its stakeholders, if it does not adopt the egalitarian approach, the counterweight of the state must be exercised to do the just right things. Now the firms, means all the companies, which have comprehensively destroyed the environment. Now the state is demanding from John Kerry, Joe Biden to Prime Minister Modi that, hey, change your behavior. Otherwise, thou shalt not be allowed to operate in this planet Earth. My dear friend, ESG is no more a fact. Even yesterday, a statement of Larry Fink, the head of BlackRock Mutual Fund, the largest asset manager in the world, has said, now I will provide rights to individual investors to vote in the companies on matters relating to ESG. Just think of kind of pressure of the counterweight of the state is being brought to bear upon the environment protection. Now, dear friends, let us look at from the insurance industry's point of view. Does it mean that we can just think about environment protection and it is throwing up new challenges? Because according to me, the geopolitical risk, now let me tell you frankly here, the geopolitical risk is not today as much on wars as is on disengagement or disunity of the global fraternity into fighting a global malady together, not individually. I mean, I was reminded recently of what one-time national poet of India, late Maitri Chandragupta, wrote, that yahi pas pravatti hai ki aap hi chale. Every nation wanted to protect itself. Now, if you have seen in today's newspaper, the countries which have been able to develop their own vaccine, and the larger number of countries have not been able to develop. And just think, if India had not developed the 2 vaccines, where the India as a society would have been. Now, this point I'm making to you is with reference to 2 things. One, the insurance industry concern, societal concern. I'm not very worried as much as because I think Joint Secretary Insurance has already outlined what kind of things and policies should be outlined. Let me tell you from insurance industry. Yesterday, I was reading a research articles done by Soumya Keynes, and she talks about how the global cooperation on trade and communications is breaking down and causing losses. Now, as a consequence of his, global economic recovery is uneven. And therefore, if you predict happening of a risk in a particular manner or linear manner, I'm afraid the insurance industry may fall wide of the mark. Let me not bore you here with the tremendous amount of data and information, how climate change should not be viewed as a risk only with reference to degradation of the environment. It has to be viewed what actually is happening in the global atmosphere. Come back to you, another very interesting way of looking at it, and I don't know whether you'd like to look at it. I had delivered a valedictory address of a graduating student somewhat 15 years ago. And the theme that I'd taken was changing economic orders. And I'd outlined how the planet has moved from nomadic economy of hunting and gathering to agriculture economy, to industrial economy, to information economy. And that I had predicted then that the world will move to bioeconomy in next 25 years. And dear friends, now, look at it. The entire protection of environment is being geared through biotechnology. Instead of meat, a plant meat is being created so that the environment protection takes place. Now, another thing which I wanted to tell you, and at that time when I was walking out of the convocation address, some students were, normally they throw their caps and enjoying themselves, but some of them were very interested to walk me through the car. One of the very bright girl students asked me, "Sir, what will be the next economy beyond bioeconomy?" I said, "Cosmic." I had not really thought about it, to be honest with you. It was just an imagination. Now, I want to give you some data. In the last 10 years, something like $548 billion of investment has been made by the private industry into cosmic economy. And next 10 years, 1.5 trillion is likely to be invested. Do you think this is opening new opportunities for risk coverage, risk management industry? And also, when some of these guys go up, they bring a new kind of phenomena in health, either germs and worms or the atmospheric particles, and what is kind of an impact it is going to have. Now, let me sum up this whole thought of looking at the environmental risk. And therefore, if you want to look at environmental risk, and before I do that, let me tell you what is called a calamity risk. Major calamity risk is being seen how the floods or the droughts or the kind of environment or the excess snow or whatever else will happen. It's not going to happen in any way. Because the global cooperation which is sought in G20 or G7 or whatever it is not going to materialize. And if every country is going to behave in the manner that they have behaved for protection of their own citizens against the COVID pandemic, then I'm afraid the unfolding of the risk of environment is going to be different cup of tea. Having said that, let me come back and conclude the points I've been making, that the world has changed and changed beyond recognition, according to me. Of course, our faces may still look like the same that we had, but some of them may have grayed, some of them look haggard, some of them look more pleasant because they had more time to spend with family and friends. But I want to tell you, the industry, if it wants to continue to thrive the way they have been, they have to prepare themselves for three things. First and foremost, as in the case of banking, the margins are going to shrink. Two, the product line and the business model, which are being used today, will not be operative or will not be functional. And therefore, you have to think of a new model, how will it work. Three, what kind of new risks will arise? And how do I make sure my existing risks, which I have underwritten, are managed well? And also, the new risks that will arise, how can I underwrite those risks and make profit out of them? The regulators, in fact, the regulators will have to build pressures on the regulators to leave the old theme of develop and regulate to what is called regulate while developing, because the development is going to be constant. The business model, which used to be 5-5-5, which has already become 2-3, 1.5 to 2 to 1, is undergoing to be a change. Business model, 1 to 2 years. Revenue and organization design, 1 to 2 years. Business and revenue models, maximum 1 to 1.5 year. And product line, reshuffling every couple of months. Well, friends, thank you very much for listening to me, but I want to warn you off that the old way of thinking, that we will tweak the product line, will marginally alter my organization design, are the same levers of revenues which have been throwing enough of cash and profits, will continue to do so. You are writing the obituary of your own organization. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.